Hi friends, how are you guys doing? I hope you guys are having a good week. Today is January 5th of 2022 and I am here to show you and share with you my January budget. This is how I envision my January going. Of course, we will adjust if we need to. Let's begin. So my salary for the month of January is $2,996.29 every 2 weeks. And this is because I am doing a lot of overtime. I'm not sure if in February the overtime will be offered, but this month, this is what I'm working with. I have my bills, and then I have my monthly budget. This is what I budget for, and in the column next to it is my actual amounts that I'm actually paying. So there's not much difference between my budget and my actual, with the exception of my credit card, where I'm going to be paying a little bit more. The minimum is $65. I'm going to pay $100 because obviously I want to get rid of that credit card bill as soon as I can. And then the only things that I left blank are phone, electricity, cable, and internet. And that's because they're usually around the same amount, but there's always a month where there's like one that it's $1 more or $1 less. So to prevent my recording sheet getting more messy than what it is already, I just leave it blank, and then when I actually get the bill, I will input the amounts. So again, I get paid twice a month. So on my first paycheck, I pay my rent, obviously, right? I think that we all do the same, pay rent or mortgage at the beginning of the month. And then I am going to do something that I haven't done before because, sometimes I'm not very smart. I am going to save half of the amounts that I budgeted with my first paycheck, and then with my second paycheck, add those amounts saved to like the balance and then pay it off. What I used to do is pay for my rent and then pay everything else with my second paycheck, which is not very smart. So that's what I'm going to do. The only thing that I'm not saving for with my first paycheck is electricity and the gym, and that's because I ran out of money. But everything else, as you can see, I am saving a big amount of money for when my second paycheck comes around. So I am paying, or I paid already, because again, we're on January 5th already. I paid rent already, and then I transferred the money that I need to live. So transportation, food and toiletries, fund money, self-pay, and Starbucks. So I transfer that amount here already to the account that I use. I always use my debit card to pay for these things. Everything else is in the savings account waiting for the second check to come in so that I can pay the bills. So the first paycheck, if you see here, I will be either saving or spending a total of $2,689.42. So if you subtract this amount to my salary, I am left with $306.87. And that is done on purpose because let's come back down here to my savings account. I have a bunch of saving accounts that I'm trying to build. And if you notice, the third is my home, and I always save $600 a month because I am trying to save money to purchase a condo or a townhouse soon rather than later. So I need to build that account as soon as possible. So I always do $300 with the first check and $300 with the second check. So on purpose, I left $306.87. All right, so let's look at my savings plan, okay? I am going to have a savings for vacation and luxury, has savings for family emergency, for the home, for my home emergency, which is 3 to 6 months that everybody talks about, and for health and work. So now let's go back to the top and let's look at the second paycheck. So with the second paycheck, what I'm going to try to do is save $837.50, which is half of the rent, to have ready for when February 1st comes around. I would have already half of the rent, and then this column next month hopefully is going to look much different. So I'm going to save half of the rent. I'm going to pay for everything. But remember, I have half of those amounts already saved from my first paycheck. So at the end, when I subtract what I'm paying from my salary, I'm going to be left with a little bit over $1,000. And that's when the magic happens. Not really, because you'll see what I have done to stretch that $1,000. But let's see. For vacations and luxury, I'm saving the $50 that I budgeted for. For checking, I'm doing $50. For the home, I'm doing the $300 that when you add it up equals $600. For the emergency, I'm doing $50. And for health and work, $25. Now, Acorn takes on the 16th of every month $120. That goes towards retirement, the majority of that amount, and then what's remaining, it goes into investments. Okay, so let's look here. Here, my total savings, just on the savings account, the big savings account, I'll be saving $595 on the second paycheck, and I'm left with $409, and that money is going to be used up here for my envelopes. Now, if you watch my previous video, then you may remember that I'm in the process of renewing my passport, and it's $190 when you pay for the express delivery. So because I need to pay for this, I am not going to be able to stuff all the envelopes that I want in January, but I will be stuffing my Christmas, my nails and hair, my 1 month ahead, my investments, and my high interest savings account. Now, let's go back here to the savings account. If you see, I have the categories high interest and investment A and B. These accounts I'm not saving in the savings plan because these accounts don't exist yet. So what I'm doing is that I'm stuffing envelopes, if you will, to save for the initial investment of opening these accounts. So that's why they're here. So for investments, I'm going to put $100, and for high interest, I'm going to put $51. So you add it all up, I would be putting in the envelopes $220, which leaves me a balance of $188.37. And if you remember here, I had $306, and I saved $300 for the house, so I'm left with $687, which I am adding to my envelope leftover, if you will, and I'm here at $195.24. I am going to use $90 from that amount for the passport, and I'm left with $524 for the licenses that I need to renew in May. So that's what the money is going to go. And if you take into account all of this, at the end of January, all the money that I have generated from work will equal to zero in my bank account, because the money is either paid or divided into different accounts for savings or envelopes. Now, you may be asking yourself, what are all these colors? So if you watched the previous video, if not, I'll link it in the box below. I have created this like cheat sheet of categories, and here I specify what accounts are going to go into the big umbrella categories, and then what bank accounts I am going to be saving this money. So that's where these colors come from, is from this sheet from the previous video. All right, now I did make long-term goals that I am including in this sheet. And the reason why I'm including it in this sheet is because the less amount of paper that I have, the better it is for me to keep track of it. So if I have one paper for this and one paper for that, it's going to end up being a mess and I'm never going to be able to find any information. So I thought that creating this little sheet for me would be the thing that made more sense for the way my mind works, because everything is at a glance. I see a lot of people that have books. I may do that next year or in 6 months, but for now I want to use this and get used to doing this, and then if I feel that I need to improve or make things better, then maybe I will go into the route of planners. But for now, this is what I'm doing. So these are my goals. These are my target goals, if you will, for each account. So for Amazon and shopping, it would be nice to have $200. Sometimes on a weekend or in the middle of the night, you have this urge for something and you go to Amazon. So I don't want to do that and put it in a credit card or take it out of my debit card. I would love to have like a reserve of $200 for that. So I think that that's a manageable number, right? For beauty, that's $2,000. That's my goal, because I would love to have laser done to my face to improve the texture and also the sand damage, right, that I have. And it's about $2,000. For hair and nails, I think $200 is a good amount for the area where I live. Haircuts are very expensive, and then nails are expensive as well. Clothing, $500. I haven't bought clothes in a really long time, so I think that it's time to update. For Christmas, my goal is $1,000. And car, again, my car doesn't exist. I don't drive. Well, I have a license, but I don't drive because I don't own a car. So I want to start saving for a car. I don't have babies. I have done IVF and other things, and that is on my first video. I'll link it below as well. But I think that there will be hopefully some more treatments coming in my future, and I need money for that because insurance, even though I have insurance, doesn't pay for it. 1 month ahead, I would like to have $4,000 saved. Again, these are long-term goals. It could take me the whole 2022. It could take me a little longer or a little less. We'll see how life goes. For savings and investments, for the investments accounts right here, $6,000, and that's because I have investment A and B, and I think that a good number to open accounts is about $3,000. So because there's 2 accounts, that would be $6,000, right? That makes sense. And then for high interest, that's $3,000. Then vacation and luxury, I want to say $5,000 for that category. For emergencies for my family, I think $2,000 plus the $1,000 from Christmas. That's good. That's a good amount to have in that account. Then for home is the $600, but I'm also adding, let me bring this down. I'm also adding the car and the future baby treatment to the savings for the house, because that's probably, those are the bigger ticket items that I'm saving for. Emergency, 3 to 6 months. I think that $4,000 to begin with, it's a good start. So I'm adding, in this account, I'm adding money from the emergency for the 1 month ahead, and the additional money that I'm putting to the big account. So all those things would go to that account. And then finally for health, I'll be adding $25 that comes from here. So now, if you look here, you'll notice that I have divided my transfers, and that's why colors are useful in my world, because then I'll add all the greens or all the blues, and then I'll come here and I'll add the amounts. So at the end of the month of January, I should be able to transfer these amounts to these categories. So the green category, which is vacation and luxury, that is $60. That comes from the $50 that is going to the big account, plus whatever green categories I'm adding in my envelopes. In this case, it's only nails and hair. Now for, let's say, my orange category, I'm adding $60. That would be the big account, $50, and then I'm adding $10 for month ahead. So I am going to have trackers, and I will be doing the trackers in the next video, where I will be also keeping track of each individual account. So even though, for example, so the big account, the home, the car, and the baby are all going into one account, I will have trackers keeping track of what amount is in each account, if you will. So then I would know where to pull from, or how much money I have in each category to pull from when time comes to buy the car, when time comes to do another IVF cycle. So I hope that's clear, okay? Now, here I have my envelopes challenge and my buffer. Now, if nothing else comes in January, I will not have money for these things over here. However, I was able to sell a dresser and a floor mirror because I am in the process of finding a new place to live and I want to start fresh. So little by little, I've been trying to sell my furniture. I sold 2 dressers, I sold a mirror, I sold a treadmill. I have sold a lot of things. I still have a few things, big things to sell, but I'm happy with the process, and I think that every time a piece of furniture leaves my house, it's like I'm releasing a little bit of my old self. So I think that I sold those things already, and I'm waiting for the money to clear. So once that money is in my account, I'll be able to do my challenges and put some money on my buffer. So yes, my friends, I hope that this was clear in the way that I'm budgeting for January. Obviously, things will probably change, you know, how things are. Unexpected things come, or you buy something and you miscalculate it. So when we come back and I start doing my stuffing and, you know, going over the budget and tracking, then we'll have like the final expenses of January, and then we'll see how we tweak for February. But anyways, thank you so much for being here, for listening. Please subscribe, and I will see you soon. Bye.